I mean, we are already struggling, even though we had 2 to 3 years, right? It's really hard to get a job in Denmark,
It is,
especially as an international. So 1 year is nothing. I can say 1 year is nothing. So I think now, from now on, only those will apply who doesn't have any plan to stay in Denmark,
Right.
or they don't care. Like, okay, if I get a job within 1 year, I will stay. Otherwise, I will go for other options. And then those who want to stay with their partner probably will not apply. So that's how I think you already reduce almost 60-70% of potential students as well.
Welcome to this episode of the Decoding Diaspora Podcast, a podcast in which we talk about aspirations and the everyday challenges of migrants, expats, internationals, and the diaspora in general. Today, we are going to talk about how does it feel to be an international student studying in Denmark, especially so if your program and university has been in the eye of a storm. My guest today is Rushnan Binte Amin. She is a student from Bangladesh who has pursued a master's program in business administration and leadership at Roskilde University, but it so happens that this program has been mired in controversy this year. Earlier in September, a leading newspaper in Denmark, Berlingske, came out with this rather big claim that Roskilde University campus was inundated with Bangladeshi students. Every sixth student happened to be from Bangladesh. And Roskilde University was milking its way by getting tuition fees and enrolling Bangladeshi students who were actually not quite capable to take on these courses at this Danish university. The controversy led to prompt changes from the Danish government, which led to changes in the student visa rules for non-EU students. The chairman of the board of Roskilde University had to resign, and more so, the program has been shut down. And I want to hear from Rushnan, how does it feel to have been a fresh graduate from this program, which has been mired in controversy? Welcome, Rushnan.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Surabhi. You were talking about how does it feel when your program from where you just freshly graduated is now closed down. Of course, it's not very comfortable for us, for ex-students, and also for the students who are still studying there. They can finish their program at the end of 2027 or 28, but still discomfort, and there is this, they are very aware of their future, how it will look on their CV when they apply for jobs. So of course, it's also not very comfortable for me when I am also looking for a job in Denmark. And now it feels like I will probably have to explain to an interviewer or an employer that why I chose this subject and why it is, now they are not continuing this one. So how relevant it is to the market right now. So these are the issues that, Yeah,
it seems like this one newspaper report has affected your life directly and the lives of so many students. And I want to hear, we have heard so much through the newspaper reports. We have heard the government being criticized. We have heard the government side of the story and all the criticisms around this topic against Roskilde University. And now I want to hear from you, who has actually been a student on campus. Is it true that there were too many Bangladeshis on campus when you were studying?
Yes, there were many students, not so many as it is right now. So we were 11 students in our program in 2021, and that was the highest until then. So before that, there was probably one or sometimes no Bangladeshi students in the program, 1 or 2 max. So we started with 11, and then eventually saw that 20, 30, 40. So now it is probably almost 60 students in the program among 100 students.
Okay. So help us understand, paint a picture for us, somebody who has not been to this university. You came in 2021, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, how many students were taking this program altogether?
Altogether, it was probably more than 80, almost 100, I guess.
Okay.
But it was our we had 2 semesters online, so it's really hard to know how many students are there, because we also used to have our classes, room by room in online platforms like Teams or Zoom. So
Okay.
we barely were like all together in one meeting, online
Right.
meeting. So yeah.
And you are alluding to the time of 2021 when, owing to Corona, classes were online. So, say
Yeah.
out of a cohort of 100 students,
Mm-hmm.
there were 11 Bangladeshi students. And how did people respond to that in that 2021 season,
Mm-hmm.
that there were 11 Bangladeshi students?
Yeah, it was a bit surprising back then too. Like our teachers were also saying like, "Wow, 11 of you from Bangladesh. Nice. That's really very diverse." Because then there were almost 80 students who were from different other countries like
Yeah.
South America or all the other countries from EU. So it was really balanced and diverse back then, even though we were 11.
And then now you are saying over these last 3-4 years that did
Hmm.
increase. So there
Yeah.
is truth to Berlin's claim that there were a lot of students. But how was the energy on campus? What was the general feedback on this increased presence from students of Bangladesh? Did people complain? Was there an issue?
No, actually not at all, because there are almost 60% Bangladeshi students in one program, but Roskilde University has a lot of other programs, and ma- there are a number of programs where there is no Bangladeshi or no South Asian at all. So yes, it is higher in number in business administration and leadership, but you were also studying in Roskilde University, so you know that
Yeah,
how large the campus is and how the facilities are, all the buildings and canteens and everything. So I would say it's properly balanced. You will probably not notice that there are so many Bangladeshis, or if there are so many students from any particular country, because when there are all the students using any facility like library or canteen or IT service, then you never know who is from where, because there are multiple programs. There are almost 1,000 students there.
indeed.
So
And yes,
yeah.
like you mentioned, I was at Roskilde University, a student
Hmm.
once upon a time myself, and I
Hmm.
had a great student life and really appreciated the diversity. And I had
Hmm.
Bangladeshi classmates myself. Now, one of the claims has also been that one of the criticisms has also been that not only were Bangladeshi students in huge numbers present for this program and on campus, they were
Hmm.
actually not suitable and capable to take the program.
Hmm.
And they were almost seen as misfits on campus. Do you
Hmm.
think, in your view, there is any truth to that claim? Were Bangladeshi students struggling with their coursework?
I'm not sure if I'm the right person to answer this question, because when a student get admission, he or she comes through a lot of steps, and
Yeah.
there is different uh, there are different offices or authorities who are responsible for that. So in my point of view, from the classroom or from my experience from campus, I can say that yes, there is a huge difference when you are in a group with Bangladeshi students for study, or you are in a project, because systematically our education system is completely very different. We are very used to studying in a very theoretical and bookish style, with all the definitions and examples and written exam and MCQ objective exams like that. And on the contrary, Roskilde University has this problem oriented approach, at least for the business studies. So where we work with real life problems from different business organizations and companies, and it's more conceptual, more it's, you will have to work in group, you will have to talk to people, you will have to interview people, you will have to be really very outspoken. And then we also have different platforms for different things, like for exam, for grades, for group formation. You have different website, different platforms to use. So of course Bangladeshi students, all the students are not very much used to it, so systematically they struggle a lot. I also struggled a lot, but I had to find my own way. And I believe everyone, does the same, with the help of other students, their classmates, or offices, or study guidance and everything. I have seen that for first or second semester, of course, Bangladeshi students struggle a lot compared to other students. But there are also number of examples, a huge number of examples where you can see that Bangladeshi students are getting 12 or 10 in their thesis. So you can see the progress that, okay, they were struggling during their first semester, and most of them are not for the study itself, but for the systematic changes that they have to go through. But then once they adapt all these technical things and all the other systems that they are not used to, then they can concentrate on their study, and then you can see the rise of their grades, like from 4 to 7 to 10 to sometimes 12. I know a couple of Bangladeshi students who got 12 in their thesis. So I would say if we discuss about how capable they are to study there, the first question comes from our side, that then how did they get enrolled in this program?
Exactly.
Because they showed their paper, they have shown their CGPA, their certificate, their transcript, their IELTS certificate, where you will have to get 6.5, which is a moderate or above average number to study in an English master's program, right? So if they can pass all these steps, pass through all these steps, then exactly, then it's really hard to determine if they are really capable or not. And for me, it's really hard to answer.
There have also been these claims, and I want to know if there are any truth to these claims, that students were taken in because Roskilde University just wanted to make money and balance its books. And these were students who were very keen on this program. And so Roskilde University may have compromised on its qualification and its criteria and did not screen these students properly. So then there has been comments from the student community saying that we only do what our agents tell us in Bangladesh. Can you share with us what is this agent culture like in Bangladesh, and are the students in Bangladesh being misled? Did you have an agent?
I didn't have any agent. I applied all by myself. But yes, there are multiple agencies there who help students to apply in different universities all over the world. But those agencies are not connected to any Danish universities, because none of the universities in Denmark actually promote their admission to any agency or take help from any agency to admit students.
And that is very unique of Danish universities, that they are not tied to any agents elsewhere.
Exactly. Unlike a few other countries, Denmark or Danish universities actually do not have any tie with any agencies. But the agencies actually run for their purpose, their benefit. Of course, I can also have an agency and help other people, or not help, like in exchange of any payment, I can actually apply for those students. So, of course, there are multiple students in Bangladesh, and a huge number of students who actually go to the agencies to apply to any universities in Denmark or in any other countries. It's not possible when the universities are not tied to any agency. So even though the agencies submit all those papers, like your certificate, your transcript, your IELTS certificate, the course details, your bachelor details, because your ECTS also needs to match, right? So even though the agencies submit on behalf of a student, still Danish universities are assessing those papers based on the papers itself, right? Not from not based on which agency it actually came from. So yes, people take help from agencies, but there's no tie with Roskilde University or any other universities in Denmark with the agencies.
Yeah. So then it is entirely the university's call if they want to admit someone or not.
Exactly. And based on their paper, based on their background, based on their bachelor's result and ECTS. So there's zero chance that a student can get admission even though he or she is not capable. He or she does not have a certain CGPA or certain score in English IELTS exam or certain courses that match with the master's program that they are applying to. There's zero chance to get an admission.
I see.
By doing this.
But now you'll see the program, the other side of this situation is that the program became really popular and may have become popular with students across the world, but it really became popular with students from Bangladesh. You went from 11 to say 60, 80, and that's a lot. If the whole classroom is, say, composed of 100 students, why do you think it became so popular among Bangladeshi students? Do you have any knowledge or insights on that? And my other question would be, Do you really think Bangladeshi students have been using this program as a backdoor entry into the work market, as an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to work in Denmark?
Mm-hmm.
Why is
Okay.
it that they are so keen to, or were so keen to take this program?
I think it's my personal idea. I think it's very popular in Bangladesh because in general business studies is very popular in Bangladesh,
Mm. Yeah.
especially in Dhaka. Compared to engineering or medical studies, more people actually go to study business administration, at least for their bachelor, and then some of them master in different, like in management or finance or something else, whatever they want to study. So in Bangladesh, business studies is really very popular program. So there, and we are a very populated country, right? So there are a lot of students who study business, and then when they apply to universities outside Bangladesh, abroad, anywhere in the world, they actually look for courses related to business studies. I I did it myself too. I think it is the case for most of the students who had their bachelor in business studies. They have to apply for their masters, any subject in business department, and then there comes this one which is highly relevant to your ACTS and your courses that you study in your bachelor. So that's how probably it became very popular in Bangladesh.
So you are
And
saying
then
it was entirely driven by academic interest.
exactly. So when you have a larger number of people who study engineering, then they
Yeah.
will pursue their masters in
Engineering.
relevant courses. Right. Yeah, exactly. Very few of them will go to business or something else. So it's exactly, you know, that scenario in Bangladesh, that where when there are a lot of business students, they apply for business studies, of course, and word of mouth, of course, play a big role. And Denmark is, I would say, it's pretty easier to apply to. I did it by myself, so I know it's not very hard. It's not very complicated, the application process. So that's how probably a lot of people end up applying here compared to any other university or any other countries. But your second question, when you ask that if students are using it as a backdoor to job market,
Yeah.
students, first of all, if you convert the currency, Bangladeshi currency to Danish krona, you can see that it's really very expensive for us to.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly, to apply and to to pay your first semester from back home when you were there already. So I mean, I can say for myself that I had to save up a lot of money, and then I had to quit my job, and I had to leave my family to come here to study, and then I had to bring a huge amount of money to continue my study because I came here during Corona. So I didn't know if I would get a job or not, or when I will get a job, right? I personally believe that if you have to spend a lot of money, almost the whole saving of your family, and you will have to finish your study, and you will have to work to earn for your daily, for your daily cost, your living cost, then how does it make sense that I came here to earn money? Because I already spent a lot of money before I came here, and I'm spending more than any European or any Danish student because I'm paying for my study. So whatever I earn, it actually goes to the university or to the government, and I earn for my living cost here. I have to eat, I have to pay bills, I have to stay somewhere, I have to, yeah.
Yeah, so what
So
you
it
are
doesn't
saying is
make any
that
sense. This
it
claim
doesn't
doesn't
make
make
any
any sense.
sense.
Yeah.
What you are saying is that if somebody only wanted to make a quick money and European money and earn in Danish kronas, and they were here only with the motive of money, then it is actually a very poor idea and doesn't work out because you have to at the same time pay very high tuition fees. So that
Exactly.
logic simply doesn't work.
Yeah, why would I pay a big amount where I would not be able to actually earn that amount of money in 3 years or in 4 years, right?
Yes. But there is this popular perception that students are here only to work, not just part time, but work in black, in addition to the hours that they're allowed to work as students. And they are not showing up for classes. And then they are just taking odd jobs and bringing down the wages for everyone else. When you hear all this, what do you think?
I think it's not entirely false. Of course, students have to earn money to, to pay their bills, of course. But then I think some students or some people actually do not see it coming, like how expensive it can be. Probably they had an idea when they were back home and they paid their tuition fee and paid their advance for their rent for apartment, but they didn't see that how much it will be for a first time moving cost in a completely different country, and which is very expensive even for Europeans or even for other people as well, right? So then probably it hit them and they think that they have to earn money, of course, to survive. So of course it's not completely false. There are cases, there are some students, few students who didn't see this coming, that how expensive it is, how expensive it can be, and how it takes time to have your resident permit and to have your bank account open. So then you almost spend 2 to 3 months without earning any money but spending your savings. So then when they get the bank account and resident permit and everything, the work permit, they start working because they have to pay the next tuition fee in a month. So it happens. It's not entirely false, but it's not the majority of cases, and it's not only, it's not the Bangladeshi students who are responsible for that. A lot of other people do
Yes,
that as
indeed.
well.
In fact, it is the
Exactly.
South Asian student community which has really been receiving these criticisms throughout this year. It happened with Nepalese students also earlier in the year. Now, tell me, when you came, I would say it is also a bold move. Like you say, you already pay part of your tuition for the first semester before you arrive, and you use up all your savings, and you have to be really resilient to have savings because you have this ambition of studying abroad. And you made this bold decision to come. Did you come alone?
No, I came with my husband, so he accompanied
Okay.
me.
And then it is also a big family decision that you're coming here. How have been the first days been? Like for you, did you live off your savings for a long time, or did you have to take up jobs to survive? I ask you this only because somebody listening to this podcast would want to know, how should they navigate if they were to come to Denmark? What are their possibilities? And if you could paint a realistic picture of what you did and what are their avenues.
When we decided to come to Denmark, it was already, we already knew that everything will be online and there's probably no job and anything because of Corona. So we kind of had our plan from the very beginning, keeping Corona in mind and keeping that in mind that we might not get a job for 6 months or 1 year.
Right.
Now it sounds really very easy, but when you were in that situation in 2020 or 2021, you never didn't know how long it will last, right?
Right.
We didn't have a vaccination back then as well, so we didn't know that if it will last 5 years or 10 years or 5 months. We didn't know. So of course we had to keep in mind that we need to have the whole payment of our my whole program, like 2 years program. But of course we will not spend all of them. We will try to look for our job. We will apply for job, because it's not an ideal situation for anyone to just sit at home and study online and spend all the money you had from your savings, right? But luckily, we didn't have to rely on that money for so long. My husband got a job within 3 months. It was part-time, but at least it was something. And I started working from summer, and from May, like from summer, I think they shifted the lockdown and we didn't have to use mask and everything. So it got easier within 6 months. So we didn't have to spend a lot from our saving. We started working. That wasn't, of course, enough to pay your second semester fee, but at least there is a flow of, of money, and you are working as well.
And
You
so,
are
what kind of
socializing as well.
student jobs are available for students? And what kind of jobs did you seek or get?
For students, there are multiple student positions in different organizations right now, but I didn't have many in 2021. I guess they were not hiring any part-time or any student assistant because they were not working at the office, and probably they did not need as many students as they need now, right? Interns or student assistants. So I applied for a couple of them and got rejected, and there weren't many opening as I can see right
Yeah.
now on LinkedIn. And then I also had to seek for other jobs in restaurants, because during that time only some restaurants were running, but there
Yeah.
wasn't any shops or anything. So you can't apply for any sales job or anything else. So I took a job at a coffee bar at Tivoli, and my husband took a job at somewhere where they do the packing and everything, because there are a huge number of online orders.
Yeah.
So back then, those were the
Possible.
tasks or jobs that were, yeah, exactly, that were very popular back then, because everything was online. But
Yeah.
eventually I get to apply for different other jobs, and I moved to sales from food,
Yeah.
and he also moved to logistics from packing. That's how we evolved, and we didn't know how it's going to be, so we just grabbed the first thing we got
Yes.
during Corona.
And again, to paint a realistic picture for an
Mhm.
aspirant who wants to move to Denmark, possibly for studies, how important was it to know the language to get these jobs, these student positions, or work as a student?
I mean, language is of course, even though it's a English speaking job, but knowing the language, of course, really very beneficial.
Mm.
But for most of the student jobs, especially which are advertised in English, or which the student job that say that you don't need Danish, you really don't need Danish, because you are hiring a first, second, third semester students who spend only 6 months or
Mm.
1 year in Denmark. So it's impossible to learn the language,
Mm.
by that time.
Mm.
So I think who are hiring saying this, they already know,
Mm.
who they are hiring, right?
Yeah.
But yes, now that I have spent 4.5 years in Denmark, I can see that, or I can say for myself that I should be able to speak much better Danish right now if I really want to get into the job market, because as I have already passed like 3-4 years here, now I cannot rely on only English speaking jobs, because it's probably the 10% of the job opening that you can see on
Yeah.
LinkedIn or somewhere else, right?
Yes.
And a lot of people apply to that, including Danish people. But if you know the language, then the other 80% are open to you, right? You can apply there. So
Yes.
when you spend, or when you are already graduated and spend 4-5 years in Denmark, then I think language is very important, even though the job does not advertise that it needs Danish. But as for the student position, for their first semester or first year, second year, it's not needed that much.
Not needed.
They can apply for English speaking jobs. Yeah.
Right. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, I must say that the student visa rules, when Rushnan came to the country, for example, were different. Rushnan actually came with her partner. You came with your partner. And the rules at that time allowed that your spouse, the accompanying spouse, could work full time, while you as a student could work part time. Because of the controversy that has unfolded this autumn, a Danish government has changed immigration rules and visa rules for non-EU students. And one of the biggest changes is that A, you cannot bring your partner anymore, and B, you can only look for work for 1 year after you finish the studies, because previously it used to be a 3-year period where you had the option to stay in the country after finishing your program and look for work for a period of 3 years. And now it has been reduced to 1 year. And is it true that you can still continue to work for the same number of hours as a student?
You can work for 90 hours in a month.
90 hours.
So it's increased by 10 hours. It was 80 earlier, and now it's
Right.
90.
So that is
Yeah.
also a development. So now, when the government has made such a has swiftly worked on this, and really the springboard was the controversy of this program at Roskilde University, what do you make of these changes? For someone coming in now, A, they cannot bring their partner, so there cannot be a younger Rushnan with a partner, and then they can also have only very little time to look for work. What do you make of these changes?
I think, yeah, a lot of people will not probably apply at all. I wouldn't do that. If I cannot stay with my partner for 2 or 3 years, probably I wouldn't do that. And of course, almost all the countries in Europe and also in Northern America, they actually allow your spouse or family to come with you for your higher
Yeah.
studies. So UK stopped it from last year, or probably from 23, that master's student cannot bring their families with them anymore. And now we can see that Denmark also is going to apply this rule as well. So I think majority of people who think like me, that they will probably not apply if they have to stay without their partner for 2 or 3 years. So that's how you actually reduce the number of application from non-EU countries. And then about the 1 year job searching period, I mean, we are already struggling even though we had 3 years, 2 to 3 years, right? It's really hard to get a job in Denmark, especially as an international. So 1 year is nothing. I can say 1 year is nothing. So I think now, from now on, only those will apply who doesn't have any plan to stay in Denmark, or they don't care. Like, okay, if I get a job within 1 year, I will stay. Otherwise, I will go for other options. And then those who want to stay with their partner probably will not apply. So that's how I think you already reduce almost 60-70% of potential students as well. But then we also see these news coming in newspaper or in different other news portal that Denmark is looking for international talents, and they are creating platform for international talents as well. But then you are not giving your graduates enough time to study, to learn the language, and to delve into the job market, because 1 year, I don't see that 1 year is really enough for a graduate to.
And I agree, because
So
1
it's
year
really
is
very
definitely a very
go
tight
ahead.
time to look for work. But at some point we were talking and you mentioned that even employers will not be interested in giving you a work permit if you are at the fag end of your search period. Could you take me through that point of view again?
I think if an employer is really willing to also, if you are at the end of your permit, your job seeking permit, and the employer really wants to help you with work visa, because you will have to convert your job searching visa to a work visa, right?
Yes.
And if they are really willing to do it quickly, because everything takes time, like 2-3 months of paperwork, right? Yeah. So if they're really willing to, or they really need you that much, or if you are really that capable that they will work that extra mile for you, then it's not a problem. But I don't think it's everyone will do that. For example, if I am working in a very junior position, and I can see that, okay, next year there can be a leadership position or a management trainee position, there will be an opening in my organization, I will wait for that time. And meanwhile, I will actually gather a lot of, expertise during my work at this junior position. But if I don't get that time, like my visa will end around August and the next leadership or management trainee position will open in October, then I will simply lose that chance, right? Or if it's like almost like, for example, they open that position in August and my visa expires in August, I apply for that position, my interviews and everything are, it's in progress. I don't think that employer will be willing to help me out in this position, because they will have multiple other applicants as well who are local or who does not have this problem with paperwork.
So basically, the paperwork around getting a new visa can actually dissuade employers from pursuing with you as a candidate when they have so many other candidates who do not come with this requirement where they have to seek a visa for them. So that's a valid point. And do you think the government the government wants to reduce the number of international students, which is directly in contrast with the other narrative where the government is actively seeking international students and qualified international personnel and actually wants to attract international students for its program. How successful do you think the government has been with this change in, visa rules, student visa rules? Has it shot itself in the foot, or has it been successful will it be successful ultimately with one of its goals of reducing the number of students? I ask you this because, you are like at the vortex of all of these big change of legislations is happening around your life. You are the representative. What kind of thoughts come to your mind? I mean, isn't this a paradox where they want you but they don't want you, and then they suddenly do things to not want you? And just for the benefit of our viewers, please take us through the fact that you have actually decided to do another master's program at Roskilde University. So you are actually a student right now.
Yeah.
So try and share with us, how do you feel with this paradox of legislative decisions, and what propelled you to take this second master's?
To answer your first question, I think it's really very early to say because they just introduced these new rules. So let's see how it is for the government. Like, you are not letting your graduates to stay more than 1 year, and by that time most of them will not be able to take a job. But then for that particular job, you are hiring people from outside and
Yeah.
bringing them with salary and their traveling cost and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how beneficial for it for an organization or for government or for the society as a whole. So then you can see that people are coming and going, but
Yeah.
I don't think anything works properly like that. And for the second question, why I actually thought of taking the second masters. My view was, or my intention was, because I'm from Bangladesh and I know that it's really very hard to change your career path in Bangladesh. So if you study, for example, if you study finance, you will probably end up doing something in finance for rest of your life. It's really very hard, and not a lot of people are really privileged to actually change their major or change their working areas.
Yeah.
So when I decided, first of all, I am not that I wasn't successful to get a job relevant to my study in business administration and leadership, and then I saw that it's kind of the same as it was in Bangladesh, because it's a very broader program. It's interdisciplinary. You can go to any direction with this degree. That's a privilege, but sometimes that's a burden as well.
Yeah.
At least for people like me who are not very sure about, like, if I'm really master in this thing or just jack of all trades. So I was thinking that probably why I'm not getting a really subject relevant job, probably I didn't pay attention to any particular program that much during my first masters. It was really a huge shift for me mentally, and also I moved here during Corona and everything was online, and
Yeah.
I could not actually pursue student jobs or student assistance or internship. I couldn't actually, I mean, socialization was the hardest thing back then
Yeah.
in 2021. And I didn't know many people, many classmates, teachers, or organization or something. And then over the time, I can see that in Denmark, it's really easy to knock someone and talk to them. For you can actually talk to the manager who are hiring for a particular position, or you are applying to that position. So they are really very easygoing. You can knock someone, you can have a coffee or chat with someone if you really want to know something, to learn something, or to apply to that job. So, and then you can also change your career path as well. And then I realized, okay, if I am really determined to start my startup, I really need to know some basic things that I don't know yet. And I can actually go to that, but I can apply to that program, and I can study, I can learn things from there, and then I can apply it to. No one is saying that, okay, you are a marketing major, you are a marketing student, why are you studying entrepreneurship right now? I want to be an entrepreneur now, so I am studying entrepreneurship right now.
Sure.
It's a privilege to live in Denmark or to study in Denmark, and I took that privilege. So that's how actually I ended up in this master's program.
Or your desire to specialize in something and go from a generalist to specializing in entrepreneurship, because that
Exactly.
became clear to you over time.
Yeah.
I want to, since we are on this topic of being at the receiving end of so much of criticism, when this controversy was unfolding, did you have to face any backlash personally as a student at the university? What was the general climate like, around September, October? And what did the students feel? Did they feel discriminated? Did they feel sidelined? Did they feel comfortable being on campus because everybody was talking about this? I assume you were on campus, and you may have spoken to other Bangladeshi students. Has it been a good period for you guys being a Bangladeshi student? How did it unfold?
Not at all. It wasn't a really very good or comfortable period. It was comfortable there was no problem on campus or anything from students or staff or professors. They were really being very helpful. They actually, like the chairman or the rector, they arranged an open meeting. Like, anyone can come to me and ask questions if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, or if you are just frustrated or want to know more. So they were really very friendly. They were kind of backing us up, and the staff and other students were really very helpful. So we didn't get any backlash on campus or from our people. But what we had is like there were journalists roaming around the campus and like asking questions. Suddenly you were like walking through a corridor and someone like, okay, what do you think? You are from Bangladesh. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. Or how did you come here and why did you apply for this program? Or how are you paying for your tuition fees? So these are uncomfortable questions. And there were a lot of new students who just arrived like the day before or the week before.
Right.
In Denmark, right, in September. They were also really very nervous, and a lot of people don't know that I can say no, that I don't want to answer about my financial solvency or my personal my plans or everything.
Yeah.
So of course it wasn't comfortable. And what I find uncomfortable personally is that when you are not being sidelined on campus, but still when people are talking about you or people know things about one certain group of people and they talk about it or they look at you in that way or they open a discussion for this, they are providing you with information and different services, then you know that you are not a regular person. And that hurts me more. Like why I'm not just like others who are coming
So
here just to attend
break
class
it
and
down for
just
me. What do they do when you got the signal that I'm being treated different?
I mean, first of all, of course, people are curious, your classmates and your friends, classmates, or other students. They will ask questions. I'm not saying they have something in mind to hurt me or to make me uncomfortable, but it's a general curiosity that people ask questions. But for that person, it's just one question. But for me, there are like 15 of people already asked me the same question since morning. So of course, it's not very comfortable for me. And when you know that your professors are looking at you in different way, of course in a good way, like they want to help you, when your rector is sitting in the canteen and asking people like you can come to me and ask questions and I will answer you, or if you're frustrated just talk to us. Your career guidance or admission office, they are also they are sending you email about course evaluation or about this related stuff. Then you know that you are already overwhelmed with a lot of information and a lot of feedbacks from people. And for me it was like I don't want my rector to sit there for me and talk to me. I just want to be a general
Normal
student who is just just going to canteen and grabbing a food and just going, why would I have to talk to her? Why she's sitting there for us? It's not her job to sit there and answer different questions. And I don't know if I can explain it correctly,
Yes,
but
but you
it's
do,
not
as in
comfortable.
any kind of attention at that point, even though it
Yeah.
was well intentioned and they wanted to
Yeah.
cushion you through that period, it just felt unnecessary and too much. And
Yeah.
why have that at all?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so now that phase has passed. So, what is the climate at the campus right now? Has the matter died down? Have people moved on? Nobody's talking about this anymore?
No, but actually people do not talk about it that much after that week, passed. But Roskilde University also closed down 8 more programs recently,
Right.
including the program that I am studying right now.
Okay.
So this
For the
current
next year.
program will, yeah,
Continue.
yeah. So for the next one, they will not admit any students, including local Danish students or European students.
Yes.
The whole department is closing down. So you can see that even though, when we asked our head of department or when we had this discussion in class, they arranged a meeting for us in December to explain why these programs are closing down. And they said that this has nothing to do with that backlash about Bangladeshi students. It is probably more like a plan to decentralize departments in different all the 5 Danish universities.
Right.
Like not on, Roskilde University will not hold all the business or social studies. Aarhus University will have some. Aalborg University will have some. So they are probably planning something like that.
Yeah.
But still, it actually came right after that one. So as a student, you might think that it's probably connected. I really don't know. We will have this discussion in December, but still you don't feel very comfortable because that program is, it's closed overnight, and now 8 other programs are also,
Yes.
they
So,
will not run their program.
and how do you personally navigate this moment? This is how our conversation started today. You mentioned
Mhm.
that you will have a lot of explaining to do because these programs are now on your CV when you are out in looking for a work, and how the world will perceive you. Is that a weight you're carrying? Are you comfortable?
No,
Would you take this program again if you had the chance? How is your state of being regarding these education choices and the career choices that face you as on today?
I am of course not very comfortable about it. So are my classmates who are from Denmark as well. Like I
Yeah,
remember the first question was asked by a Danish girl, like, what will we do when we will have to apply for jobs? So I
yeah,
can see that they are also very concerned about
yeah,
their future as well. So altogether, it's of course not very comfortable. But then we also will have a meeting. Why we will seek for that explanation why this particularly this program is closing down, and what should we answer if an employer asks us, or if they don't ask us but we need to somehow inform them or explain them,
yeah,
because a lot of people will think that this whole program or this whole idea of doing business or learning about it is going to be irrelevant in society or in business, right? A lot
yeah,
of employer can think like that. So we need to actually make our position to explain or to inform people when we approach them. And
yes,
it's our department's duty to enlighten us with this information. That's why we are going to have that meeting in December.
right,
So it's kind of a bit early for me to say
yeah.
what's our next plan. Till now, it's not very comfortable for me, for all of us.
I understand. But there is this plan in place where the university will prepare you to explain and defend your choice of study and explain this to the wider world.
Yeah.
Before we close our wonderful conversation, where you have been so generous with your time and so generous with your insights, Rushnan, if today somebody from, say, Ethiopia, Chile, Bangladesh, India, China
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
were to approach you and say, hey, would you recommend that we move to Denmark for ABC program? You have
Mm-hmm.
lived there 5+ years now. What honest advice or guidance will you give them to move or not? And if they do
Mm-hmm.
move, what should they look after, and what good practices should they adopt?
I will probably not guide them about like if they should move or not. It's their decision. But the first thing I will do is that I will explain all the new rules that we are going to have from these coming semesters. So the first thing I will inform them with that you will have this 2 years master's program. First of all, they will not be able to apply to these programs that are closing down. So because
Yeah,
they are closing from next semester, so of course they will apply to those programs, hopefully that will be running for another 5 years.
yeah,
So no risk in that. But I will inform them that as a non-U student, first of all, you will have to pay this certain amount. You can already know from the website, but then you will not be able to bring your family, your spouse, or your kids to. And if you are okay with that, if you want to plan according to that, of course that's up to you, but you will have to keep that in mind. And you will not be able to, it's a general rule, you will not be able to work more than 90 hours as a student, and you will have very limited time, which is 1 year, to apply for your relevant job. So you can get a job within 1 month after you graduated. I have some friends who actually did that, but that's very rare, or that's not the regular case in
mm,
Denmark. So you will
mm,
have to keep in mind that as well. If you want to move back to your country, or if you want to move to some other country or some other university or or want to apply to other organization all over the world, you are very much welcome to do that. But please keep in mind that 1 year is not that much in Denmark. Having the language barrier and the huge number of international application, and the government or the organization are also hiring people from outside, so there are really very narrow chance
yeah,
to get a relevant job in your from your I mean relevant to your study within a year. So
yes.
those who will keep this in mind and are okay with that, they will apply. Those who are not okay with that, they will
Yeah.
not
So
apply.
adjust your
Yeah,
expectations and have a clear plan of what your possibilities are. And what would you
exactly.
tell them about living in Denmark? How is life in Denmark? How has it been for you?
Hmm.
Do you plan to stay here long term?
Hmm.
And any insights from your personal story?
I will share my experience with them that I actually really love to live in Denmark. I did not expect that I would love to live in Denmark this much, because the first thing when we were moving in, there are some points that were actually very disturbing to me. One of them is the weather. Like, how will I survive this long, dark winter?
Mm.
And I still can't cope up with that. But
Mm.
other than that, everything, like, I love Danish summer, so I don't want
Mm.
to go anywhere else during
Yeah.
summer. Normally, I travel to other southern parts of Europe or other countries after summer, like
Yes.
in late autumn, like October or November or
Yeah.
September, because I really want to enjoy that one here. I
Yeah.
love it here, and the whole societal system. Now that I have a baby, I can see it even clearly. Everything is really very fine. I really want to raise her in this setup, in this system, and I want to be with her as well. So of course, I want to stay here. I will look for job. I will look for a reason to stay, or a permission from the
Mhm.
government to let me stay here. I will look for that. I will work on that. So I think if I need to share these things with someone, all of them will be positive. All the information will be positive from my experience.
Yeah.
I never had any single bad experience or any cases of any barrier, any racism or anything during my stay until this, this 4.5 years.
Yeah.
So most of them will be positive, except for the weather. I will warn them, like, okay, it will be really dark from October.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that it has been a positive and predominantly a positive experience for you the last 4.5 years. I was also thrilled to be in Denmark since my day one, actually, and I was very grateful for my student time at Roskilde University, and I learned so much indeed. And it is very well put that the education systems in South Asia are completely polar opposite from the education systems and practices here. Here it's very problem focused, and you need to research and find solutions, and nobody will hand it out to you for rote learning, for example.
Yeah.
I'm tremendously grateful to you for your time, Rushnan, and for being so open about your experiences of being a student at Roskilde University in such a controversial time. And well, we are both Bengalis, but we never got a chance to speak in Bangla. But I just want to say অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ, খুব গুছিয়ে আজকে জমিয়ে কথা হলো। যারাই এটাকে শুনছে, all my viewers who are watching this, please do share in the comments what you make of Rushnan's first-hand experience. If you yourself aspire to study abroad, and if that choice happens to be Denmark, and if indeed, despite the changing student visa rules for non-EU students, if you still plan to come here, please do share what program you want to study. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out, and through the comments on YouTube, people like Rushnan and other expats and myself will be happy to respond to your queries. Once again, many, many thanks, Rushnan, and to my audience, please do take care, share this podcast, which could be useful to your friends and your network. Remember to share your thoughts in the comments. Do like if you appreciate our effort. And I look forward to meet you with very many other interesting guests, migrants and internationals like Rushnan, in the forthcoming episodes. Do take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Surabhi.
Thank you,
It was really
Rushnan.
nice to talk to you.
Thank you.